should have, and rightfully so. Welcome to X's and Bros throughout the great state of Michigan. This is the Michigan Sports Network. I'm Matt Shepard. Trent Bally is with us, and the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. The text line is Sports Radio 21,000. I'm sure you watched it last night. Seattle's defense dominant all night long. And they set some records. They were the primary reason why the Seahawks are world champions for the second time in the history of the franchise. They beat the Patriots 29-13 to claim Super Bowl 60. New England allowed, or was it Seattle taking advantage of? Anyway, 6 sacks. Seattle also turned New England over 3 times. And the Patriots have now set a Super Bowl record for number of losses in a Super Bowl with 6. Jason Myers nailed 5 field goals. That's a new Super Bowl record. Kenneth Walker rushed for 135 yards and 161 total yards overall to earn game MVP. And I said this on social media. I tweeted it out. Seattle's defense deserved to be the MVP. But you can't do that. You can't pick one guy out of 11, even though those guys up front were incredible. I mean, just manhandling New England's offensive line all night long. I would say outside of 1 sack, all of it was Seattle's defensive front 4. Getting pressure with front 4. Getting pressure with only 4 was really impressive. Sam Darnold, who threw for 202 yards and a touchdown and no turnovers. Seattle's the first Super Bowl champion to go the entire playoffs without committing a turnover. Pretty cool. Darnold now owns as many Super Bowls as Breeze and Favre and Stafford and Namath and Dawson and Stabler and Theismann and McMahon and Williams and Young and Warner and Rodgers. That's just to name some. That's how hard it is to win in the NFL. That's how hard it is to win a Super Bowl. Time and time again. Makes you really appreciate what Tom Brady did and what Joe Montana did and Terry Bradshaw did. Getting to that point, he's the first quarterback since that 2018 class to win a Super Bowl. It's not Josh Allen. It's not Baker Mayfield. It's not Lamar Jackson. It's Sam Darnold. Who would have had odds on that just a few years ago? Not many. Michigan continues to roll. They remain unbeaten on the road. A convincing 82-61 win in Columbus against the Buckeyes. A day Marabosa career-high 24 points in 26 minutes. Yaxel Landeborg added 14 points and 14 boards. Trey McKinney, Mr. Basketball in the state of Michigan a year ago, out of Orchard Lake St. Mary's, is a lot better than a lot of people thought he would be, especially as a freshman. He chipped in 12 off the bench. That U of M defense held the Buckeyes to just 36% shooting. 7 of 22 from deep. They're 22-1 on the year, 12-1 in conference play. Meanwhile, Chris Gotterup birdies the first playoff hole to win the Waste Management Open. Gotterup now by the way, they keep calling it the WM Open. Does Waste Management no longer want to be referred to as Waste Management? I don't know. But Gotterup now has 2 wins in the first 4 events of the year. He needed a birdie on 18, and he needed Hideki Matsuyama to bogey 18. He had not bogeyed the back 9, any hole on the back 9 all weekend until he went wayward with his drive on 18 into the church pew bunkers on the left-hand side. Then sculls his second shot out of the bunker, hits the lip, pops up in the air, drops it on, misses the putt, and then hits the 3-footer coming back to force the overtime or the extra playoff hole. And on that extra playoff hole, it's another bad shot. Drive, anyway. And what happens? Gotterup takes advantage. Matsuyama had won the Waste Management Open in the previous, in 2016 and 17. And he had done it and extra playoff holes, which is interesting, I think. Scotty Scheffler was tied for 89th after day one. He finished 15 under par. Tied for third. That means he has a top 10 finish in 17 straight PGA events. Amazing. Maple Leafs captain Austin Matthews has been named Team USA captain in the Olympics. Boston's Charlie McAvoy, Florida's Matthew Tkachuk have been tabbed assistant captains. America hasn't won the Olympic gold since 1980. That's crazy. I never realized that. Here's our Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question. How much did you enjoy the Super Bowl? Did you enjoy it a lot, a little, or not at all? It's pretty simple. We give you the opportunity to vote as often as you'd like. Do so at XB Mornings. I'll retweet it at ShepMatt, and we will give you the results tomorrow, later on in our program. Underrated aspect of the game yesterday. Michael Dixon, who's the punter for Seattle. Not that you would ever vote a punter or a kicker MVP. Although the kicker, Jason Myers, did hit a Super Bowl record 5 field goals.
And you know what was too bad, Shep, is they let fans vote at the end of the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to go vote, and I was going to vote for him because at the time, Kenneth Walker was still right around 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to be too much of a homer. I'm like, Myers has all their points, and he wasn't even an option.
Yes, I was in a group text with some folks, and it was not, was it 9-0 or 12-0? Either way, somebody said, how about Kenneth Walker going to be named MVP? And I thought to myself, I mean, I didn't respond, but I thought, how is that possible?
Yeah.
They don't have a touchdown yet, so they caught fire late. That's good. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it because he was cool. I mean, I really like Kenneth Walker. I think it's awesome what he did. He did have that long touchdown call back on a hold, and it was a hold. Okay, big reason. But Dixon had 7 punts, 48-yard average, 3 downed inside the 5-yard line, only 2 returned for 4 yards. Plus, he was holding on the kick attempts for what that's worth. I know that people don't look at it like that big of a deal. I know. It's like, oh, big deal. No, it's when you're down on a knee and you've got to get a wayward snap. I'm not saying he had to do it a lot, but you need sure-handed. It's a part of the game that gets overlooked way too often. But anyway, I'm not saying Michael Dixon deserved to be the MVP. I'm just telling you what he did. What he did was really important to what Seattle was able to do. You pinned New England back the way they did, and you let that defense go to work. Driving against that Seattle defense, I mean, obviously Drake May knows. It is interesting. If you bring up the MVP numbers again, if you go back and you look at what Matthew Stafford did against Seattle and what Drake May did against Seattle. Matthew Stafford went 22 of 35 for 374 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and no fumbles against Seattle in the NFC Championship game. 374, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles. Okay. Had a passer rating, of 127.5. Drake May threw for 27 of 43, 295 yards, most of it late, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 1 fumble, and a passer rating of 79. We said this before. Big reason why I think we chose Seattle is obviously the defense. New England's defense is good too, really good. But the difference to me was it was a gauntlet for Seattle. They had to play a lot of tough teams. New England had one of the easiest schedules in the last 25 years. We'll get more into that on the other side. It's easy to say that now, but we said it before. So we'll talk more about that on the other side. Mitch Lyons joins us 7:18. We want your hero and heel at 8:18 here on X's and Bros. And we're brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth blueprint today. Text blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLionsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
I got my mom, my dad, and my little brother. It means a lot, especially my little brother and my dad. My dad, he comes out to Seattle all the time to watch games, but he never goes to the game because he don't like crowds. So this is his first NFL game, and, we won a Super Bowl, so it means a lot to me, and I know you're proud of me for real. I wasn't the one that convinced him, actually. My agent convinced him to come out here. So I didn't think he would come. They ended up miking him up and everything, so he got out of his comfort zone.
That's one of the cooler stories. It really is. I mean, this is one of the many things I absolutely love. I just adore about sports is the stories that we're seeing that get revealed. Things like Dennis Jenkins getting a 2-year contract with the Pistons. Guy was in the G League, right, a year ago. Kenneth Walker, who's a quiet star. I don't know if people will – I don't think anyone's going to confuse him with a top 5 back, but he's a top 10 back, okay? And he's going to make a lot of money in the offseason because he's a free agent. His father has never been to one of his games. His father's never been to one of his games because, as you just heard, he doesn't like crowds. But he went and saw his son play in the Super Bowl. That should choke you up. That's one of the beauties of a storyline sports can offer to us. It's awesome, and I love it. Prior to Sunday, by the way, no team had ever made 5 or more field goals in a Super Bowl. Seattle did it. No team had ever punted 7 times in a Super Bowl with every punt netting at least 40 yards. Seattle did it.
You want to tell me special teams doesn't matter? Come on.
No team had ever had 6 sacks or more and a 40-yard defensive touchdown in a Super Bowl. Seattle had it.
Wow.
Yeah. So pretty impressive stuff from the Seahawks defense. I'm not taking anything away from New England. That's wrong, and it's not fair. Okay. You win as many games as they won during the regular season, and you get to the Super Bowl, you deserve it. All right.
Yeah, and you play who you play.
Yeah, there's no gifts there. I mean, just because, and I've said this already once this morning, and I've said it leading up. Part of the reason I didn't pick them is because I thought they had an easier route. Now, some would argue the defenses that they played in the playoffs, specifically Denver, for example, was really good. Yes, don't disagree with that. Denver didn't have Jackson Smith and Jigba. They didn't have Kenneth Walker III. They didn't have A.J. Barner. They didn't have a very good offense. They didn't have as good an offensive line. And let's face it, I know how people feel about this guy. They're going to shake their head. Sam Darnold's been really good. There's no turnovers. He hasn't turned the ball over the entire postseason. I'm not saying he's the second coming of Aaron Rodgers. All I'm telling you is, while everybody focuses on the defense, and I think the secondary deserves a ton of credit, all right, you're talking about just the pass rush. That secondary has to cover that allows the pass rush to get home. And, of course, the pass rush getting home allows the secondary to cover. It goes hand in hand. But it's not getting nearly as much attention as the front 4. Fine, okay? The defense was been great. Sam Darnold was outstanding in the playoffs. His regular season, there's some good and there's plenty of bad there. There was reason for many people to wonder if they could actually go all the way with him at the helm. There was reason for that during the regular season, even though he's just the second quarterback in history to win 14 games, at least 14 games in back-to-back seasons.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen unless you're halfway decent. I mean,
Sorry,
come on.
You're not doing that with Geno Smith.
Correct.
Okay, Geno Smith leaves a team, they win the Super Bowl. He goes to a team, they get the number 1 overall pick. Okay, so you're not doing that with Geno Smith, but you did it with Sam Darnold. And at some point, maybe there will be the naysayers, the people who never believed him at all, outside his mom and dad, and maybe Mike McDonald. Outside of those people, there will be people next year who can't wait to pounce. They're going to wait. They're going to take their time because they're not going to give him any credit this year, and they're going to take their time. They're going to talk about all the defense, that he's the next Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer didn't perform in the playoffs the way Sam Darnold did. Look what he did against the Rams. Really freaking impressive. All right. He made some throws yesterday. His first completion to A.J. Barner was unbelievable, the tight window. And again, with not getting hyperbolic here, I'm not suggesting this guy is the best quarterback in the National Football League. But you know what? He deserves a ton of credit. 5 teams, people giving up on him, people calling him trash, people calling him a ginger, all this other stuff. And look at what he was able to do. At some point, and I don't know when that point is for people, at some point, you're going to look at a guy and his performance and his season and say, kudos. And again, you might be the first one in line next year when he throws his first pick, when his team loses its first game, and when his team fails to repeat. You might be that guy saying, I told you you can't win with him. Here's what he has that you'll never have is a Super Bowl ring. And he's a big reason for it. And he's done it the same number of times as a lot of the quarterbacks that you believe are among the iconic players to have ever played the position.
Aaron Rodgers.
And if we're going to go on wins and losses, and we're willing to do that with so many other quarterbacks, there's the difference between this guy and that guy. My favorite guy, and then this is going to be part of his legacy. It's as simple as that. Now, speaking of football, immediately what happens, I mean, before you can even get the commercial out with hats and T-shirts and sweatshirts and plan the parade in Seattle for the Seahawks, odds come out for next year. The Detroit Lions open next season as the 8th highest favorite to win the Super Bowl. Their odds are 16-1. It's interesting. It's worth just mentioning, not necessarily discussing. The reason I bring it up is because we don't know what the Lions team's going to look like next year, for crying out loud. They could go out and get one of the best left tackles. Did you see how challenged Will Campbell was? Now, Will Campbell missed some time because he was injured. But you had 2 rookies on the left side of that New England offensive line.
They had their hands full for
the most part, yeah, for sure they did. For the most part, they've been good enough to win a division and win a conference. Yesterday, they were overmatched. As good as Will Campbell was at LSU, and he was great. And at the beginning of the season, he was really good for New England. Then he got hurt and he came back. He was overwhelmed. The left side of the that offensive line was overwhelmed. Actually, the offensive line in general, whether they were rookies or not, was overwhelmed by Seattle. Seattle is that defense. I mean, that's a really good example of defense wins championships. That's the primary reason, right? But the Lions 16-1 odds, just behind Philly and tied with the Chiefs, for what that's worth. Among NFC teams, they rank 5th in Super Bowl odds. Just wanted you to know that. All right. I don't know where New England is. I don't care where New England is or Seattle. I would guess Seattle's number 1. They deserve to be that, right? They've got some key free agents, obviously. I had mentioned Kenneth Walker III. But they've got some guys who are coming back and are instrumental. How about Mike McDonald? 2nd-year head coach, puts his guys through the paces in OTAs. Matter of fact, a lot of the players we're talking about, Kenneth Walker had mentioned that. The guys were talking about it just a week ago, how tough OTAs were, how tough training camp was, and it paid off for him. Instant credibility for Mike McDonald. 2nd year, remember, he was the defensive coordinator for Jim Harbaugh at the University of Michigan. Harbaugh goes back to the National Football League because he won his national championship. He desperately wants the Super Bowl. He wants to be able to say he's in the same breath as guys like Pete Carroll, for example. He hasn't gotten there since returning to the National Football League after coaching at Michigan. And Mike McDonald in his 2nd year is a world champion. It's an amazing story, and it's a really fun one. Our phone number on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio 21,000. Get a text or two that we want to get to. I'm glad I watched a college basketball game over the weekend. It was a little disturbing. I'm glad it's not how Michigan and Michigan State play. And I'm wondering just exactly what you thought was going to happen in the Super Bowl, what the script was going to be, and which team followed that script to your beliefs. We'll get to that coming up here on X's and Bros. Mitch Lyons joins us at 7:18. It's Mondays with Mitch. The former NFL tight end gives us his thoughts on the Super Bowl and a whole lot more. At 8:18, we got Hero and Heel. We want your best and worst of the week here on X's and Bros, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
What's more surprising? Sam Darnold leading a team to a championship in the National Football League, or Indiana football winning a football championship in college?
I don't want to be too prisoner of the moment, so I'll still say it's Indiana. But, I mean, that's kind of rich coming from me. I was one of the first guys that had to line up and apologize for all the Sam Darnold slander over the last couple of years.
Well, look.
They're both good options, is my point. Both were unlikely.
I don't think that's nice that you're hard on yourself. That's fine. I don't know if you truly gave him he could never win. I don't know if you ever said that about Sam Darnold. You were critical of him, and you could understand why some people, including yourself, were critical of him. 4-9 as a rookie. He only had one winning season until he went to Minnesota. So why should Trent Bally be any different than NFL scouts, general managers, and head coaches?
Well, and
they're the ones who
thing,
get paid to actually review and figure out whether or not a guy is good enough to play in the National Football League. I think the danger people have with not just Sam Darnold, but any athlete is you can, quote unquote, never win with him. And you've got to be careful when it comes to that. You better be really sure. You better have a really good understanding of what it takes to be a champion and whether or not a guy can win. Geno Smith, I had just mentioned, remember?
Yeah.
Okay. So Geno Smith, you could say the same thing. And yet there was a time where he went 3 straight years of winning football. Now, it wasn't great football, 9-8, 9-7, 10-7. Wasn't outstanding football, but some team, Seattle specifically, in back-to-back years, and actually led the league, I should say, in completion percentage, where they actually felt like you could win with him. And he went to the Pro Bowl twice. He was comeback player of the year. Okay. He's had some accolades, but are you going to win a Super Bowl with him? How many people truly thought, outside of Sam Darnold's inner circle, thought that you were going to win a Super Bowl with him? Probably not very many. And there will be plenty of people moving forward who are saying, yeah, but he also played on the best defense. Okay, that's fine. But there's a lot of guys who played on really good defense. Joe Flacco was the MVP of the Super Bowl, and he's a guy who's played a long time, won a lot of games, and he had an outstanding defense with him. Not as good as Trent Dilfer's defense was when Baltimore won their first championship, but it was still good enough. Jim McMahon won a Super Bowl. You can't take it away from him. Not saying he's a great quarterback, not saying he's a Hall of Famer. No one's saying that about Sam Darnold. Would you rather have Sam Darnold or Jim McMahon? I'd rather have Sam Darnold.
Yeah. And my whole thing, to be clear, back when, it was a season ago, that one season in Minnesota, it's just that the Vikings were winning at the same rate the Lions were, and throughout the whole thing, I just thought the Lions are the better team, and Sam Darnold's part of that. I think Jared Goff is a reason the Lions win. I don't think Sam Darnold is as big of a reason the Vikings are having their success. That was my whole foundation for, not believing in the Vikings long-term. It had nothing to do with his lack of ability. I think he's fine. Sure. At that time, I probably thought he was average. Now I think he's much better than average, but still not top 5 or anything crazy like that. So there can be a middle ground.
Yeah, we got to remember this. You can say that, but how many games did you watch Minnesota?
Well, more than I would watch a random team, because they're in the Lions division. So
sure,
not like I'm watching the Lions, right?
Right. But he lost. They lost twice to the Lions, of course. One game you could have said was on him because he didn't play well at the very last game. Played pretty good against him in the first game. Dude threw for 4,300 yards while he was with Minnesota.
Yeah, he ultimately had a pretty good season. Yes,
it was a really good season.
My argument throughout the whole process was just that when it matters most, he's going to crumble, and he did, for what it's worth. This year, he did not. He rose above it. He played great in the playoffs.
Yeah, he sure did.
And he wasn't the main reason they won the Super Bowl yesterday, but he was a big part of it. So give him his credit.
Yeah, he was a primary reason they beat the Rams.
Yeah, you can argue the primary reason.
He was more of a reason they beat the Rams than the Seattle defense was.
Great way to put it.
Okay. And I would remind you that a year ago, when he played Seattle, who was still a really good defense, When he played Seattle as a visiting quarterback, he threw for, 250 yards and 3 touchdowns in beating Seattle, I might add. Anyway, it goes back to what I've said forever. It is so damn hard for us, and Trent's done a good job of it, for us to say, you know what, maybe we were wrong, or try to give somebody credit where they feel like credit should be due.
Well, I just think it's almost, not even almost, I think it's way more embarrassing to double down once you've been proven wrong than it is to be wrong in the first place.
Right.
Just cut your losses, man. Take it. It happens. We talk for hours a day talking about this stuff. You're going to be wrong about a lot of things.
A lot.
Admit it.
Okay. And by the way, you're not the only one. So where's the shame in saying, you know what? I was wrong about Sam Darnold. People in Carolina could say that. People in Minnesota can say that. People with the Jets could say that. I mean, it's obviously armchair quarterbacking, but that's so true.
Better late than never admitting when you're wrong,
Via text. Freddie sends us one. John Schneider says, hold my beer. This isn't hard. Since he's been there, he's brought in many quarterbacks, free agencies, and drafted and wins. He builds great defenses, and by the way, has a quarterback in waiting being groomed with a big upside in Jalen Milroe. I don't know how big his upside is, to be honest with you. I don't think anybody does. I really don't. Don't give me. I'm not going so far as to say, okay, you know what, he did it the right way because Jalen Milroe knows exactly. They know exactly what they have in Jalen Milroe, and he's going to be the future is bright for them because they used a 3rd-round draft pick on Jalen Milroe, who played literally threw 4 passes this year. How do you know that the future is bright with him? I have no idea. I don't know about any big upside with Jalen Milroe. He's a 3rd-round draft pick. Hendon Hooker was a 3rd-round draft pick. Do we think, the future is bright there? I'm not counting any of that. So I'm not going out on that limb. I don't think anybody does know. If he was that good, he would have gotten in more than 3 games for taking the final snap or throwing 4 passes. So I'm not going that far. When will the Lions get their starting quarterback side like Night Train Lane, like Witherspoon or Gonzalez? Great question. It's a great question. I don't know. My hope is that it happens soon. What might have been if Witherspoon slipped to 6 because Brad wanted him badly, and then what Brad would have done with the 2nd first-round pick, trade up for Gibbs, trade down for Branch or Laporta. Pretty sure they were picked 6 and 27. Gonzalez went just before. I love Christian Gonzalez. I liked him at Oregon. I thought he was a really good player. I think he's an outstanding. He was probably the best player for New England. I think he's an outstanding cover corner. I think he's great man-to-man. All right. What could have been? Yeah. We're talking about the 17th overall choice in the 2023 draft, okay, taken just ahead of Jack Campbell. The only way the Lions could have had him is if they'd have taken him instead of Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not going to look back at that draft and say, gosh darn it, they made the wrong pick. Witherspoon went 5, okay, just after Anthony Richardson. The teams that should be kicking themselves in the ass over that is a team like the Colts, who had to trade for Gardner at the trade deadline when they could have had a guy as good as Witherspoon if they'd have taken him with the 4th overall pick. But you know what they did? They tried to get their quarterback of the future. They tried to draft for need rather than best player available. So they went with Anthony Richardson, who didn't play very much in high school or college, and now you want to give him the reins. So exactly what Freddie's talking about is, oh boy, Witherspoon, Brad loved him. What could have been? You know what? Take the philosophy you had last week from saying, I'll draft a quarterback every single year and do that with the Colts. Instead of drafting that quarterback, take the best player available. Take Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois. And how much better would you have been? You wouldn't have had to trade for Sauce Gardner. You would have been able to keep some draft picks, right, from Sauce Gardner. I'm happy with Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm happy with Jack Campbell. I'm not going to look back and say they should have taken or traded up even further to get Devin Witherspoon. But remember, Detroit had the 6th overall pick. They traded back. What they should have done is they should have jumped or leapfrogged Seattle and gotten Devin Witherspoon, and then instead of taking Campbell, taking Christian Gonzalez. I'm not going that far. Because Jack Campbell, arguably the best linebacker in the league this year, and Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 running back. It's not the reason they lost this year, was because of those two guys. Would Witherspoon and Campbell, Witherspoon help on one side, Gonzalez help on another? Absolutely. You know what else would have helped? If Terrion Arnold was better than he was. If you'd have gotten some cornerbacks. Remember, when the Lions drafted, this was a while back, obviously, when they drafted Jeff Okudah, everybody thought he was the second coming of fill in the blank for the best corner. That was the draft report on him. So who's to say? I mean, these two guys are great. They are. They're fantastic at what they do. Who's to say they would have been that way for the Detroit Lions? I'm not going that far. I can't live that way. Like, oh, this is what you should have done. You could say it at the time. How many people were saying it at the time that the draft was taking place? Both would look good, but you know what? Gibbs looks good in a Lions uniform, even though I hate the number 0. Ironically enough, Christian Gonzalez wears it too. And Jack Campbell looks really good in a Lions uniform. So let's see what happens. Okay.
And it is worth mentioning, and you kind of alluded to it there, but like I think the Lions were, at least reports where they were interested in Witherspoon, but he went right before you're set to pick. So then you trade back, you take Gibbs, and yeah, like you said,
that's the reason they did.
It's worked out just fine.
I think that's the reason they did trade back.
Because Witherspoon was their guy.
They didn't get the guy they wanted.
Yeah.
Right. So why try to, fit a round peg in a square hole? What do? They trade back and they take Gibbs. Now, you could have easily said, why not take Bijan Robinson there? He was the number 1 rated running back at the time. If you wanted a running back, why not just, because you got extra capital and you got a guy you really liked, a guy you really wanted, a guy who was really high on your draft board. So Witherspoon was obviously as high as anybody else on the draft board. I don't know where they had Will Anderson. I would guess Will Anderson, to me, he was the best player in the draft.
Yeah, he was right around where he went, I think, which was 3rd, right? 3rd overall.
Yeah, but only because
people offensive
draft
talent
for
first.
need.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I got to have a quarterback. I'm taking Bryce Young. Oh my God, I got to have a quarterback. I'm going to take C.J. Stroud. Who's better, C.J. Stroud at his position or Will Anderson at his?
Will Anderson, not close.
That's why I can't stand the quarterback thing. That's why I can't stand the draft for what? Look at all the mock drafts, the local mock drafts. The Lions are going to take a tackle in the 1st round. They're going to take a defensive end in the 2nd round. Then in the 4th round, they're going to take a safety. Then in the 5th round, they're going to take a tight end. All drafting for need. You draft the best player available is what you do.
So when the Raiders pick Mendoza number 1 overall, you're going to disagree with it?
No, I'm going to assume the Raiders had him as their best overall pick.
Okay.
If he's their best overall value, boom, okay? This is the guy we want. Forget about the position for a second. Put everybody in college football on that board. How are you ranking them? That is what good teams do. They have hundreds of names listed, okay? 300 names, more than that. But there's 250 names drafted, whatever. And they rank them just by the name, not by the position. That's what they usually do. That's why when you hear NFL teams say, instead of the round, they talk about the overall pick. They'll take, we took pick 63 and moved. They don't say 2nd round pick. They take the overall pick. Anyway, because the Colts felt like we've got to have a quarterback, oh my God, let's go get Anthony Richardson. They bypassed Bijan Robinson, who would have helped him, Devin Witherspoon, who would have helped him, Jalen Carter, who would have helped them, Jahmyr Gibbs, who would have helped them. Hell, Lucas Van Ness would have helped them. Think about it for a minute. Christian Gonzalez, Jack Campbell, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, all those guys were drafted after Anthony Richardson. Are you telling me the Colts, the Colts need they need a serious breakdown of their scouting department if they all had him rated higher than all those other players on their board. Or did they draft strictly because, you know what? We've got to have a quarterback. That's where you get in trouble. And I don't think the Colts had a second-round pick either. So you better when you swing for that fence, you better connect. You better make sure you get it right on the sweet spot. And they didn't. And how much did that set them back? And then you had to go out, and obviously we know what happened there. All right. Pretty damn interesting. Somebody had put on social media yesterday, when the MVP arguments are had, the tape that should have that discussion. Stafford on a masterclass against the same defense that May had 18 yards against with 7.5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Great season, MVP in the future, but that proves that Matthew Stafford was the MVP. I don't know if it proves that. I mean, Stafford had to play that team twice during the regular season, beat them once, had a big lead going into the fourth quarter the second time, and then had better numbers in the third meeting in the playoffs. And it wasn't too much for him.
Yeah, I think it was proven before that, to your point, but I also just think it is a regular season award, so it's like it's kind of a moot point to me. But I did see a lot of that discourse yesterday, and sitting around talking with friends during the game. Of course that's what people were talking about.
Sure.
Look what Stafford did against this defense. You think Drake May can win MVP?
Agreed. It's crazy.
Well, apparently they got it right because Stafford won MVP by one vote, but he won it.
Yeah, by one vote. There are two people who voted for Josh Allen and one voted for Justin Herbert because Herbert had a terrible offensive line, according to that voter, which is fine. Okay. To each his own. At least he's willing to put his name out there. 7:18, we're going to talk with Mitch Lyons. It's Mondays with Mitch. Excited to get his thoughts on the Super Bowl. A guy who played in the NFL with Pittsburgh and Atlanta and knows what it's like to go up against players like Seattle and New England on a regular basis in his career. He will join us at 7:18. 8:18, we want your hero. We want your heel. The best and the worst of the weekend. Saw some really good college hockey over the weekend. Michigan and Michigan State played Friday night. I was at the Pistons game. Pistons absolutely blowing out the Knicks, who beat Boston
again, by
yesterday.
the way.
Yeah, beat him by 31 the first time. Beat him by 30-plus again this time. And then, I don't know if you watched yesterday. Did you watch any of the Knicks and the Celtics yesterday?
No, I didn't.
New York blows out the Celtics 111-89. Now, I know you can't do this. You can't sit there and go, well, you beat them, they beat me, so that means you'll beat me. You can't always do that. But the Knicks ran roughshod in Boston. They looked completely out of sorts against Detroit. Anyway, in the suite I was watching the game, boop, there's a TV of Michigan and Michigan State hockey. Phenomenal game and a phenomenal duel in the D as well. So I hope you had a chance to check that out. The team split. Outstanding rivalry going on there. Quick timeout. Back with more on the other side. Welcome your phone calls and your texts. Aaron X's and BrO's on a Monday morning.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Huge here with an invitation for everybody to join the Grand Rapids Griffins and Van Andel Institute for the Purple Community Game, which is coming up on March 13th in downtown Grand Rapids. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. And you'll have a chance to bid on limited edition Purple Griffins jerseys. You can learn more at vai.org/events.
You worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLionsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Farrah's Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at FreddieThePizzaMan.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddieThePizzaMan.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Well, we're approaching now. The football season is over, and that's tough for a lot of us to say. Now the football season is over. Here's what you're going to get. You get a number one team in the Eastern Conference in the National Basketball Association in your Pistons, right? Best team in the East. Pretty clear. There's no doubt about it. And they're at Charlotte tonight. And Charlotte actually has been, it's not like they're a threat, but they have won 9 in a row. Okay. They're 3 games under 500, but they're playing with a lot of confidence. It's clear that the Pistons are the best team in the Eastern Conference. Please, you're going to hear national members of the media try to make a case for the Knicks, and it makes no sense whatsoever. At some point, you have to be convinced, okay? Things could change in the postseason. There's no doubt about it. We've seen it before in other sports, Dodgers and Padres, on how good San Diego was against LA. But I'm sorry, when the Pistons steamroll you by 31 one night, 38 another, and there's no, sorry, man, I was playing a back-to-back. Can't use that as an excuse, all right?
Well, the case the media should be making is Boston, because even though the Pistons haven't lost to Boston yet this year, they're allegedly going to get Jason Tatum back soon, right? Or they believe they're going to have him back for at some point in the playoffs. So if you're going to make a case right now, it should be Boston, not New York.
I don't think you can make the case.
Well, you can't based on this Boston team, but what I'm saying is if they get Tatum back, this is the angle they should be taking. Like, yes, Boston hasn't beaten Detroit yet, but they're getting their best player back, so that could be the best team.
Yeah, but we don't know what that best player is going to be like, so that's why you can't make it. The New York Knicks had won 8 in a row, and after beating Boston, they've now won 9 of 10. They'd won 8 in a row going into Little Caesars Arena Friday night. They had the payback on their mind, the emotional side of things. You know what? They embarrassed us last time. We're going to get you this time. All that other crap.
Nothing.
That's why emotionally takes you so far. You can make the case, I suppose, for the Boston if they get their best player back and he plays like their best player. But we don't know that's what's going to happen. Here's what we do know. He's been playing full scrimmages. Big deal. Bottom line is that New York is second in the East. I mean, they're actually tied with the Celtics, but I think they have the tiebreaker over them. It's clear that the Pistons are the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. You cannot deny that. We used to have a really fun game called Defending the Indefensible when I did a show back in the day. It was a really good segment. You would give me a topic, and then I would try and defend it. Really, the Patriots are better than the Seahawks. Defend the indefensible. Well, that's true. New England's better because they won a really tough division in a better quarterback-dominated AFC conference compared to the you start pulling stuff right out of your rear end. That's what it basically was. And you try to convince the judges on whether or not that truly was the case. How do you defend anybody other than the Detroit Pistons in the Eastern Conference? I don't think you can, unless you want to say, well, Cleveland is going to start to catch fire. They've won 8 of 10, 3 in a row. They just got James Harden at the trade deadline. It's going to make a big deal for them moving forward. I don't know. You also got a Red Wings team that, even though they lost 3 of 4 going into the Olympic break, does have a number of Olympians out there, Lucas Raymond, Mo Sider, Dylan Larkin, and guys who knows what we feel like. They know what it takes to win. And they still might do something before the post-Olympic trade deadline. That's the thought. Either way, they're going to be in a playoff chase. The Tigers are picked to win the division. Some people, I would guess, might go so far, if you believe in pitching, and most people do when it comes to baseball, that they will be the favorite in the American League, let alone the American League Central. That's what you've got now that football is over. Oh, and by the way, you have 2 really good college basketball teams that have legitimate Elite 8 aspirations. More than that, but I'm just talking about the fan base. You would be disappointed if the season ended right now in college basketball, Michigan and Michigan State didn't reach the Elite Eight. You'd be surprised because that's how good they've been, especially Michigan. Okay. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, I don't know how you can. Tough schedule, beating them, undefeated on the road, no problem. One in the most hostile environment they've played, Breslin. It's hard to say. On top of that, you've got the two best college hockey programs in America with Michigan and Michigan State. Friday night, Michigan State was up 3-1. Michigan came from 2 goals down in the third to win the game in overtime. The next night, they played in Detroit, and that was in Ann Arbor. The next night, they played at Little Caesars Arena, duel in the D. And for the second straight year, Michigan State hoisted the trophy because Michigan State owned them. I don't know what the college hockey rankings are going to be when they come out this week. Michigan was 1, Michigan State was 2. Maybe they flip-flop. Because they split, maybe they stay the same. Either way, I can't see them deviating much from what it was. You've got 2 of the best college hockey programs in the country playing as well. So I think that is spectacular. Those are the things that we can look forward to before football season begins next year. Now, it can be quickly dashed if the Red Wings don't do anything at the trade deadline and fall flat in March like they did the last 2 years. It can be quickly dashed if Cade Cunningham gets injured. It can be quickly dashed if Michigan and Michigan State somehow, some way get upset in the early rounds of the NCAA tournament. But that's yet to happen. So I'm going to look forward, and I'm going to be really positive. It could be dashed if Derek Skubal gets injured. That can derail any team. You and I both know that. Those are the things that I think we have to look forward to, and I'm really excited about it. All right? It's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of Michigan and Michigan State, I don't know if you saw this. Over the weekend, North Carolina, incredible comeback to beat Duke. Like you talk about rivalries, I think Michigan State is as good a rivalry as there is out there. Kentucky, Louisville is really strong, of course. Duke, North Carolina usually steals the show. That is the headliner. And it's okay to say, you know what, maybe our rivalry's not as good. Our rivalry's really good. We're really proud of it. But that one runs probably deeper than anything else. 14th ranked Tar Heels stunned the Blue Devils. It was 71-68 the other night. It was Saturday, I believe. They hit a 3-pointer with 0.4 seconds left. Afterwards, this is the way it is in college athletics, I suppose. Instead of acting like you've been there, just celebrate like you're out of your mind. So people rushed the floor. It was in Chapel Hill, by the way. It was in North Carolina, at University of North Carolina. Obviously, they're both in Carolina. So University of North Carolina, they stormed the floor. John Shire afterwards, the head coach at Duke, gives credit where credit is due that the Tar Heels made the play and won the game. His problem was the safety of his players. And we do this probably annually, where why is it so hard for schools to contain the student body from rushing the floor and or the field in general? You have security there. The problem is most of the security are people who are retired and can't get in the way of anybody. There's no way you're stopping them, okay? The students are the tree that's been blown over by the wind. And the security guard is the little shrub that's in front of it. It's not happening. John Shire says a member of his coaching staff was punched during the melee. We don't have that at Michigan State that I can recall. Something we should be proud of. I get it that it runs deep. There's bad blood. There's despise on each side. I get it. There's a mutual respect to a certain extent. At least we haven't had to deal with that I can recall recently. Talk with Mitch Lyons Wealth when we come back about his team's bounce back win over Illinois, a little college hockey, but primarily the Super Bowl the former member of the National Football League as a tight end, joins us on the other side. Stay with us. We're brought to you by Meyer.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact that Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
From Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Petoskey, Charlevoix, Traverse City, Cadillac, Lansing, and beyond, you are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard only on the Michigan Sports Network.
I was going out there, open mind, playing basketball, and, you know, the coaches, the guys, everybody, you know, trusted and supported me. So didn't really have, you know, any worries, understanding that I have to go in, you know, just play basketball. You know, I had some mistakes that I made, you know, in the past game that I don't want to let happen. Like, I hurt my team, you know, and just understanding that at the end of the day, the coaches, Coach Izzo, you know, my teammates still supported me and had my back. And just coming in today and trying to get a big win was the most important goal.
It's Jeremy Fears after Michigan State's home overtime win over Illinois over the weekend. Really important bounce back, really important victory for them, and a really nice game for him. We'll talk more about that coming up here on X's and Bros at 7:18 every Monday. We welcome our good friend, the former NFL tight end Mitch Lyons, the founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, and you can visit his website, mitchlyonswealth.com, or call him today, 866-85-STEEL. Sign up for his newsletter that is absolutely free. Get a free digital copy of his book, Retirement of Steel, and he joins us here on X's and Bros in this hour brought to you by Meyer. Mitch, hope you had a good weekend. Hope your daughter played well for Ferris State, and hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. What were your thoughts on the Super Bowl? At the start, I thought maybe this could be one of the more boring Super Bowls in history before both teams kind of kicked it up a notch. What was your overall acknowledgement of the play that was on the field last night in Super Bowl 60?
Yeah, I think it was another example, Shep, of, you know, when you get a top offense like New England had been, top scoring offense, second scoring offense, I think, in the league, playing against a top D. The D always seems to win out, and I always want to believe otherwise. You know, I really thought my boy Vrabel would have a master plan to be able to combat that defense, and he just did it. I mean, they overwhelmed them up front, and it just goes to show you, if you can pressure the quarterback, a lot of good things can happen. The best quarterbacks in the league look pretty pedestrian when you put pressure on them, and you certainly saw that with Drake May.
When you see the pressure up front, that tells you obviously one thing, but what about the secondary and how good Seattle's secondary was? They complement each other so well.
They really do. Like, the times that he did have time, you could just see he had nobody to go to. You know, he's looking around, he's checking 1, 2, 3, and there's nobody open, right? I mean, they're just that good. And you know, rushing 4 and getting pressure with 4 is a game changer. And certainly when they brought the heat with Witherspoon a number of times, you know, he got home or at least got pressure and was knocking them around. So it's just an great example that defense wins in the big games and usually outperforms the offense. And yet I still thought the Patriots somehow get it done, and that just wasn't going to happen last night.
6 sacks, 3 turnovers forced by that Seattle defense, including a pick 6. Mitch Lyons from Mitch Lyons Wealth joining us here on X's and Bros like he does every Monday morning at 7:18. Kenneth Walker III named MVP. He's such a humble star. Love the story that his father had never seen him play in person because he doesn't like crowds, but he was there. How much pride did you take watching the former Spartan perform the way he did?
Well, we talked last week, Shep, and I said then, you know, hey, the team that doesn't turn the ball over and establishes the run game is gonna have a really good shot at winning. And they got the turnovers obviously, and Kenneth Walker was as advertised. I thought he was fantastic. He was kind of bottled up initially. They wasn't getting much his first few carries, but then obviously he got it going and had a great game. And he is just a humble kid, and it was great to see him accept the mantle, first Spartan to be in Super Bowl MVP. So it was pretty cool, and just a great opportunity for him with Charbonnet being out. And he certainly stepped up to the task and took the full load and performed great and really good time given that his contract's coming up.
Yeah, I was going to say he's going to make a lot of money this offseason, and rightfully
sure
so.
Is.
Now, where does your attention turn? Now that football has closed the book on 2025, where does your attention go?
Well, now for me, it goes to fantasy golf. So we're coming into week 4 of the fantasy golf season. So at least gives me something I have to set a lineup every week for. So that keeps me going. Until the Tigers get you, right? I mean, with Valdez getting picked up and adding that, number 2 starter, really gives the Tigers a great shot. And they were kind of quiet all off season, and now they've certainly piqued my interest going to get that arm. Even though I felt kind of disrespected Scooble, they went out and got the arm that a lot of us felt they needed last year. And so I like their chances in their division and get in the playoffs. And anything can happen, especially when you get 2 top line starters like that. So, but until they get going, I'll stick with golf and college hoops.
Yeah, I was going to say college hoops, and Michigan State had a really nice win over Illinois. What do teams show you, or how important do you think it is in their character collectively when a team is able to bounce back from perhaps a disappointing loss or a subpar effort into doing something what Michigan State did in overtime against a really good Illinois team? What does it show you?
Well, it shows me they've got some resilience, right? You're going to have some hiccups throughout the season, typically in a conference like the Big Ten, and it's deep in every game. Even though Minnesota wasn't great record-wise, I mean, the bottom line is any team on the road is going to be a really tough game. And they didn't come to play as well as they normally do for whatever reason. So Iz got them turned around, and obviously that was a huge game to stay in the Big Ten race and playing an Illinois team that I think is fantastic. I think they're really good. We're blessed to have such an incredible conference. I mean, this season's amazing, and what's going to be really fun is the Big Ten tournament because you've got a lot of teams that are really, really good and going to make potential to make deep runs in the NCAA tournament as well. So. But that was a huge win for Sparty. Fears put him on his back, and as he has a number of times. And the kid, I know he had some questionable plays the previous game that people were concerned about, but he certainly stepped up and played a great game the other night.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Good for him. That's not an easy thing to do. Meanwhile, the Michigan hockey team had 2 epic games over the weekend as well. Let's not forget the rivalry there and the dominance that those 2 teams have had in college hockey, ranking 1 and 2 respectively, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's fun to see, and up really all year, going back and forth, and tough loss for the Spartans. Great win for Michigan the first game. Coming back from 3 goals down or 2 goals down to come back and win it, and then for the Spartans to turn around and flip the switch the next game and get a 3-goal win themselves. It's going to be fun. To be really fun if both these teams could make a run in the NCAA and have them see them square off in the big dance. That'd be fun.
Yeah, 2 really good coaches, Brandon Naurato, Adam Nightingale. Nightingale with 1 more win than Naurato as they go toe-to-toe. It feels like it has that sense of a Red Berenson, Ron Mason type feel with 2 outstanding programs. How much do you get into the Olympics, if at all?
I always laugh because it's all these sports that I don't care about for 3 years, 12, 11 months and 2 weeks, except for this little 2-week stretch, but yet you'll still sidle up to the TV and watch some curling or, whatever the sport is, ice skating, whatever, right? It's just, it's fun from the standpoint of the stories of the athletes and what they've overcome to get where they are. So I like that aspect of it. I mean, I don't have a huge, stance on any of these sports necessarily, but it's fun. It's compelling. It's human. The human interest story element of it is like fun to watch, and the patriotism is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that aspect of it too. I know there are some people who get into all those Olympic sports. I don't necessarily. I'll follow it from afar. We're always following you. Have a great week, my friend. Thanks for the time as always. Enjoy.
All right, buddy. Take care. See ya.
All right, Mitch Lyons from Mitch Lyons Wealth joining us here on X's and Bros like he does every Monday at 7:18. There is an unsung hero of the Pistons, and I think this is one of the best stories really in sports in the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan. Like, we've had some really good ones so far. Ferris State winning another national championship was a great story. This one is as good as any. We'll explain on the other side when we come back on X's and Bros on a Monday morning, brought to you this hour by our friends at Meyer.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact that Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Farrah's Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Huge here with an invitation for everybody to join the Grand Rapids Griffins and Van Andel Institute for the Purple Community Game, which is coming up on March 13th in downtown Grand Rapids. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. And you'll have a chance to bid on limited edition Purple Griffins jerseys. You can learn more at vai.org/events.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and BrO's with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
If I'm being honest, everybody know I'm a very humble guy. But in college, man, like most of these dudes that got drafted, like what was the difference between me and them? And so for me, going undrafted is like, that's insanity to me. And that burns inside of me every single day. That took something away from me. You know what I mean? And it is what it is, but they're going to have to see me. Every time I match up with somebody that I know, whoever was drafted or whatever, like, I mean, I just take that personal, man, just because, like I said, I just know there was no difference between me and the guys that got drafted. And big chip on my shoulder. I always say it has just been me my whole life.
That's Dennis Jenkins, who, yeah, sure, he played at the University of Pacific, Iona College as well. St. John's, made the rounds a little bit. Sure, was undrafted. You want to use that as the chip on your shoulder, that's great. Whatever can get you there, that's fine. There's plenty of guys who've done that. We've talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown about that for a long time. Alex Bregman felt like he had a chip on his shoulder, and he was drafted 2nd overall. Ironically enough, he's going to be playing with Dansby Swanson.
Yeah, that's funny. But whatever it looks like for your situation and your draft.
Overall pick, and Bregman was 2nd. Whatever you think can motivate you. Whit Merrifield, I've told that story numerous times. All right, Dennis Jenkins has earned the opportunity. He's played, over 50 games now, or 40 games, I think is what it was, because he's played 42. And you had to make a decision. No more was there a two-way contract. So the Pistons signed him to a 2-year deal. And I think that's awesome. And he's deserving of it. He really is. He's a guy who, it's a great story. You could make the argument that it is perhaps the best story in the city right now. And he played against the Knicks the other night when I was at that game, 18 points in 18 minutes. Not bad, right? Pretty damn good. I root for guys like that. At some point, when is that going to be done? When are you going to stop going, okay, I got the chip on the shoulder? I don't know. And I really don't care. I know that he has made his way into becoming a very key player on this team. And I thought it was pretty interesting the other night. Sar Thompson said in the locker room after the win over the Knicks that he said when he was guarding him in practice during some of the scout team practices, right? Thompson's the starter. Jenkins is on the opposition running the scout team. And Asar Thompson likened him to John Wall. Like as a dunker, as a crossover dribbler, as a speed guy. Okay. It is 50, right? Friday was the 50th game. So it's 50th game of eligibility under the 2-way deal. I think it's over the last 2 years. So it's 50 games. And he was better. You could make the argument. He plays on a better team, but still, he was 7 of 11 from the floor. He was better than the all-star Jalen Brunson. He went 7 for 11 from the floor. He was 3 of 6 from deep. And at 6'4", the Pistons have themselves a hell of a deal. They have a guy who is hungry, willing to accept his role, very good at his role, and loves being part of this. I mean, truly appreciative. If I said to you the other night, who were the best plus-minus players on the Pistons, all of them, all of the leaders that game against New York came off the bench. If you believe in the plus-minus, Javonte Green was really good, but Ron Holland was a plus 28. You look at Ron Holland and you're like, he had 5 points in 21 minutes of play. He only made 1 field goal. Well, he had 6 rebounds. He was a plus 28. The team was plus 28 when he was on the floor. Paul Reed was their best plus-minus performer of the night. He was a plus 32. Detroit was a plus 32 with him on the floor against the Knicks. And Dennis Jenkins was a plus 23.
It speaks to those guys' selflessness. You and I talk all the time about how plus minus, some people buy into it, some people can't stand it. it's not uniform across the board to me. Like, I think sometimes this is why it's important to watch the game. But in that case, you're exactly right, Shep. Like, those guys, even though Ron Holland only has 5 points, he's impacting the game in other ways. It speaks to how, he's able to spread the wealth to the other people that are on the floor with him, which, those teammates obviously interchange. That's why plus minus exists. So Danis Jenkins, hats off, man.
Why do you think Detroit was able to play so well without Cade Cunningham for a stretch? When Detroit in November, when Detroit won 13 consecutive games, we remember that, right? It was fun. I mean, I know we were caught up in football and college football and so on and so forth. I don't think this went under the radar, but what went under the radar is the play of Danis Jenkins. There was a 5-game stretch in November, okay, where he was really, really good. But after that stretch in which they won 13 games in November, he averaged 20 points, 7.5 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. In the middle of that 13-game win streak, with some injuries piling up, that dude, I don't want to say he carried him, he helped carry this team.
Well, that's definitely where he made himself known. If you're just a casual viewer, casual Pistons fan, and a guy's only playing 15 to 18 minutes a game, and you're not watching every game, you might not think of him as a big part of the team. But you're right, Shep. It was that specific stretch where in the backcourt specifically, you had, the injuries were piling up a little bit and there were minutes to go around. Danis Jenkins took them and ran with them, man.
Well, here's another beauty of what sports can bring you. It's unearthing the stories, but also unearthing the improbable trail to get to where you always want to be. We've talked about that with Sam Darnold. Okay. Now, a little different because he was highly recruited, played at USC, was a stud there, and was a high draft pick. But there's a lot of people who gave up on him.
Yes, and to your point about whatever could motivate
Danis
you based on what your
Jenkins,
draft looked like, hell, the first 5 years of your career could motivate you that way, that same exact way.
Jenkins is a guy who played for 3 colleges and 1 junior college. All right. Began his career at Pacific, transferred to Odessa College. Okay. And then went to Iona, where Rick Pitino was. And after a season there, Pitino goes to St. John's and asks Jenkins to go with him. And Jenkins goes with him. And a guy who has literally, had to earn every single minute he has gotten in the NBA. And now you go, take a deep breath. I'm okay. I got a 2-year contract. And rightfully so. Okay. It's a phenomenal story. Rightfully so. He gets that 2-year deal. The question now becomes, do you become satisfied? Or are you one of those guys who is going to say, I'm going to use this as equal motivation to get me to the multi-million-dollar contracts that I see a lot of these guys signing? I don't think that's what motivates him. What motivates him is the playing time and proving everybody you were wrong about me. And it's hard not to like players like that, man. It really is. You get that opportunity, and then suddenly you go from nobody on the scouting report to a key piece on the scouting report. I was thinking about that with that game the other night against the Knicks. Everybody talks about, like, I was fortunate. I was in a suite with a lot of people who were saying our depth is really important. And I'm like, well, if you think about it, you get in the playoffs. Like, New York played 11 guys the other night. Does that mean they're deep? They had to play 11 guys because they were getting their ass kicked on a regular basis. Okay. I like Detroit's depth, but when it comes to the playoffs, I'm going to be a little concerned if Chaz Lanier is playing. My guess is, like, Detroit started Tobias Harris, Duncan Robinson, Isaiah Stewart, Cade Cunningham, and Asar Thompson the other night because Jalen Duren was hurt. Jalen Duren comes back. Isaiah Stewart comes off the bench. All right. You're going to have Ron Holland come off the bench. You'll have Karis LeVert come off the bench, perhaps a Kevin Herter and a Danis Jenkins. So you're roughly 9 guys. Do you need more than that?
9 is always my target number. And that's just a preference thing for me. I like 9.
Same here. I believe the same thing. If I'm going 4 guys deep, I feel pretty good. The longer you go in a series, and if you get to a blowout stage in which 118-80, which was the final from Friday night, that is a blowout.
And then, of course, it gets larger than
38.
9. Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Of course, you're going to extend your bench. And I love that those guys, and quite honestly, when they went to the bench in the first half, or maybe it was the third quarter, that bench expanded the lead. They gave Detroit more of a cushion. It was the bench that oftentimes made the difference against that. And what they did was, as much as anything else, sure, they can score. They've got guys who can score. Javonte Green hitting threes is awesome. Dennis Jenkins, as I mentioned, hit some threes. It was special. Paul Reed came in, delivered the goods. He was outstanding on 4 of 8 shooting, including his first triple of the year. Or one of them. I think it's his first triple. But anyway, I don't know if you're going to need Paul Reed in a playoff series unless that series goes deep, unless you're blowing that other team out or that team is blowing you out. It's nice to have a guy like that.
Yes.
But he's your third big. If you've got to go to your third big, there's a few things that you're worried about. A, someone's in foul trouble. B, you're getting blown out. Or hopefully, it's this one, you are blowing the other team out. Or you got injury. 3 of those 4 things are bad.
Right. Like last year without Isaiah Stewart, the next series. That's why you did have to go to your third and fourth big.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's why it's really important to be able to get these guys minutes, get the productivity, get the belief, get the familiarity, and all this other stuff. That's great. Don't get me wrong. All I'm saying is when I get to the playoffs and Isaiah Stewart's healthy, my hope is that I'm going to be riding these young guys for a long time in the playoffs because of their ability and because of their stamina. Those are the guys you want moving forward. So the depth is great during the regular season. You want to give some guys a little bit of a blow, a little bit of some time off. I get it. Duncan Robinson played 20 minutes the other night. Cade Cunningham, 22. It's a perfect time to give them 22 minutes and sit. You're kicking the crap out of the Knicks. Let Chaz Lanier log some minutes. Let Paul Reed log minutes. Let Javonte Green get in there and get a nice sweat going. Get all those guys with plenty of time so you can rest up a little. Not that you're worried about Charlotte, but at some point, that's the way to handle load management. Kick the crap out of the team and give your starters a chance to rest a little bit. Let them be cheerleaders for a little while. Let's go to the phone lines. The Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. Go ahead.
Brett wants to chime in on the Pistons rotation.
Brett, good morning to you.
Jeff. I ain't talked to you in a while, man. Hey, keep wanting to push LeVar or I'm drawing a blank.
Karis LeVert.
The guy went to Duncan Robinson and had a Green. I think Green's a better off the bench player than LeVert ever will be.
Okay. Why is that?
I mean, I got nothing against it. I'm a U of M fan, and I'm pushing to not have a U of M guy play.
Yeah. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters if you're a U of M fan or not. I was just wondering why you think he will be. He's a better bench player than Karis LeVert did have 6 assists the other night. Why you think he'll be a better bench player than Karis LeVert ever will be, who's already been in this league as a bench player and averaged 20 points per game. But go ahead.
In my eyes, I see LeVert as more of a turnover machine than a. Yeah, he had a lot of assists the other night, but it was also a blowout, and he played a lot of time. Where mop. I don't consider a whole lot of mop up stats that important.
Okay, fair enough.
But he turns the ball over an awful lot.
Okay. Yeah, he's averaging. I think he's averaging about a turnover a game. Yep. Somewhere in that
neighborhood. As a bench player, that's a lot.
Yeah, I would like to see him take care of the basketball a little bit more. I probably look at assist to turnover ratio a little bit closer than that. If you look at statistics, I'll just give you the statistics. He turns it over 0.6 per game. No, I'm sorry. That's not correct. 1.3 per game. And the assists are at 3 assists per game. So it's about a 2-to-1 ratio.
Yes. But
how is
I also think Green's a lot better 3-point shooter, a lot better defender, a lot better everything. I just think Green's a better fit for our team than LeVert.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fine. I mean, Green, in fairness, Green turns it over more and has far fewer assists. For what that's
but
worth.
he's a stand in the corner deadly shooter, in my opinion.
Okay.
Which is what we need. We need to spread the floor.
I don't disagree with that. And I think that's the reason they got Kevin Huerter. It might surprise you. It might surprise you just a little bit to know that they both make about the same threes per game. Okay.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah. Karis.
I mean, I'm not a fast junkie. I mean, I don't have time to. I mean, I drive for a living, so I'm not even supposed to be talking to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. I get it. I understand. Karis LeVert averages 1.13 pointers per game. Nothing special there. There's nothing special, but it's 1.1. And Javonte Green averages the same. All right. Or roughly the same. 1.1.
I'm not a fair weather fan. I'm just a loyal Detroit fan. I didn't watch the Super Bowl last night.
Yeah, that's okay.
I haven't watched one playoff game all year. When my team's done, I thought I'm not going to support these mega leagues just so they can keep pricing people out of being able to go to games and stuff. You know, these billionaires don't need to support them. If my team ain't in, I ain't going to support them.
That's fine. I'm. You do what you feel is best. I'm not going to sit there and tell you what to do. I don't know how much.
I watch in the afternoon every day too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, Brett. It's very kind of you. Have a great day and be careful out there. If you don't want to watch the Super Bowl, I don't blame you. I think there should. If you feel that strongly, I tip my cap to you. I wish more people would have those type of ethical values. I really do. You think the NFL is getting rich off you? They are. They're outpricing the common fan. They are. You're not going to support them. Good for you. You are supporting them by watching the Lions, but I wouldn't tell you not to watch the Lions, for crying out loud. I don't think here's the hard part, Brett, and this affects you and I. The NFL doesn't care what you and I think. Hell, NFL doesn't care what their players think. They're going to do whatever the hell they want.
They're adding all these extra international games. They want to expand the 18-game
you know what's going to happen?
season.
The Super Bowl is going to be international. They're going to move. The Super Bowl will be out of the United States at one point. With Roger Goodell in charge, they will be playing a Super Bowl on foreign soil. We got to take a quick time out. This hour has been brought to you by Meyer. Stay with us.
It's time to go on the court.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Trent Valley here. The Super Bowl came and went, so if you haven't already, it's time to officially turn the page to basketball season for one. And let me tell you, there is some superb basketball on display here in the state of Michigan. The Pistons remain atop the Eastern Conference with just 2 games left before the All-Star break begins at the end of this week. Perhaps not a main reason, but an unsung, respectable reason for their success has been Danis Jenkins, the 6'4" backup guard who's been given Detroit 17 minutes and 8 points per game this season. He'd been on a 2-way contract and finally, over the weekend, signed a full-on NBA deal to keep his spot in Detroit secure. Jenkins' resilience, patience, and continued production within his role are an inspiring reminder that even the most talented of teams need the proper balance to succeed.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLionsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at FreddyThePizzaMan.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddyThePizzaMan.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI ThePizzaMan.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Here's the irony of what the Seahawks did last night. Welcome back. X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9, throughout the great state of Michigan. Seattle, first team ever to win the Super Bowl without turning the ball over in the postseason, right? We know that. If I said to you, where do you think Seattle ranked in terms of turnovers this year in the National Football League? If I said to you, turnovers, where did Seattle finish the regular season? Who had the most turnovers in the National Football League?
Like on offense, you're saying turn the ball over the most?
Correct.
I'd say they're pretty low. Took care of the ball. That's what I would guess. Like 20th, 22nd, maybe?
They're 28th.
So they're almost, okay, gotcha.
They have the second most turnovers in the National Football League.
So they turn it over a lot, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The
Sometimes the
giveaway.
turnover thing can get misleading because it's, it's
the giveaways, that's what
they coughed it up a lot.
Adam Schefter said, what makes it even more impressive is that Seattle finished the regular season with 28 turnovers, second most in the NFL, behind only the Vikings.
Okay, so I'm way off on that. I would have thought they would have taken care of the ball more than the majority of the league, at least. So middle of the pack, but they're not.
Well, it's a little confusing to me. It's a little confusing because that's not what, if you look at statistics, they've got Seattle in total giveaways. Okay, total giveaways of 24. That's what I'm reading here. ESPN stats, 24 giveaways. So I don't know where he gets the 28.
Is it fourth down, maybe? Turnover on downs, does that count?
Oh, that could be part of it, but yeah, that could be part of it. Yeah, maybe
does that count as a giveaway but not a turnover?
They've got Cleveland at 34, Tennessee at 34, Indianapolis and the Raiders at 29 each. That's just on giveaways. So it's a little confusing to me. The Vikings had 30. That's what he's suggesting.
Yeah, I could be wrong here. I'm guessing he's adding in turnover on downs, and that's why he's saying giveaways, not turnovers. But I don't know. The point is, they turn the ball over a lot more than I would have expected for a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah. The weird thing about that, again, just to not to belabor the point, but I mean, if it's 28 and it's giveaways, Cleveland still had 34.
Yikes.
Tennessee still had 34. I mean, that's based on statistics. Anyway, either way, I mean, it's unique what Seattle did. Didn't turn it over to the entire postseason, and yet had 28 cough-ups during the regular season. But they win Super Bowl 60, and they do it in impressive fashion in a 29-13 final over the Patriots. There's a lot of hate for the Patriots online. This is what happens with teams that are successful, unless it's your team. My wife is from Massachusetts, so she does root for the Patriots. She roots for the Lions first, but she also roots for the Patriots. Her cousins spent the entire last half of the week complaining that the Patriots weren't getting any respect.
Well, I'm sure you had a heyday with this one.
Oh, my God. And I said, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Somebody has to be an underdog. You know that, right? You're a 4.5-point underdog. Do you think on a neutral site, do you think that's disrespect? I am so tired of the word disrespectful because it's so overused. Hey, don't disrespect a guy like what are you talking about?
And they're basing it off so many different things. Like, look at how both teams looked in the championship games. Okay, so what do they? They have to base it off something.
It's incredible how easily offended certain people get.
That's a great way to put it, because it's like, yeah, you're a 4.5-point underdog because you put up 10 points.
Yeah,
in the AFC Championship game.
Look, they're both 14-3. Seattle was better in the point differential by 20 points. Seattle played in a tougher division. Is that fair? I think so.
Easily.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Buffalo's good.
Yeah,
Miami's not trash. The Jets are trash.
Yes.
Okay, and in the NFC, for where Seattle's playing,
3 playoff
the Cardinals,
teams.
The Cardinals are trash.
But 3 playoff teams.
But you've got the Rams, you've got the Niners. They had a tougher road. It's not New England's fault that they played in an easy schedule. I don't think people are ripping them for that. They're using it as part of their delineation of picking one team over another. Give me the reasons you are choosing this team over this team. Well, here they are. Boom, boom, boom. You put down 4 or 5 bullet points. One of those bullet points for Seattle is they play in a tougher division. They played a tougher schedule. They have a better run scoring differential, and their defense is better. And if you're New England, well, we've got a better offense. Waiting. Okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
But they felt so disrespected. And because of that, so petty on my part, because of that, I found myself rooting against them.
Shep, I don't think it's petty at all.
Originally, I actually wanted them to win because I like Mike Vrabel. I think Drake May's a great story. I think he's a really good quarterback. I love the chance that he's going to get moving forward. I'm sure not counting that he's going to get more Super Bowl opportunities. Otherwise, they would have said the same thing about Dan Marino back in 1983. Dan Marino, in his second year, took the Dolphins to the Super Bowl against Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers. And San Francisco dominated that game, and I think it was a 38-16 final. Marino never got back there, but he's the youngest quarterback to ever take a team to the Super Bowl. Drake May's the second youngest. I don't count on that at all. I never believe that, well, you've gotten there once, you're going to do it again. Matthew Stafford deserves MVP because Drake May's going to have plenty of chances for his moving forward. Wrong answer, okay? You can't look in the future. You don't know that. You think that, but you don't know that. Didn't happen for a lot of guys.
Well, Shep, one of the biggest things I've changed my mind on since working with you on the show is the whole linear progression year-to-year thing.
Yeah.
Even 2 years ago, I believed that. I thought, hey, the Tigers, the gritty Tigers, they snuck into the playoffs. They're going to win the AL Central and just continue to get better and better and better. Well, what happened last year? And they were the best team in baseball for a good chunk of the year. And then they choked and didn't win the AL Central pennant. So you can never count on, just because the bad boys did it in a linear way, doesn't mean that we can always, as a city, as Detroit fans, fall back on that. Because the Lions have also proven us wrong in that way as well since 2023. Right. So the whole linear progression thing, I mean, if you would have told Dan Marino when he was on the stage getting his gold jacket that he never made another Super Bowl after his second year, which was phenomenal, he would have called you nuts.
Yeah, and the same thing with the MVP. When Dan Marino won the MVP in 1984, he led the league in completions and attempts and yards and touchdowns. He threw for 5,000 yards, and he threw for 48 touchdowns. In the MVP race, he beat out Eric Dickerson, who rushed for 2,100 yards and 14 touchdowns. Dan Marino was never MVP again, even though the following year he led the league in yards and touchdowns. And the following year after that, he led the league in yards and touchdowns. And 2 seasons later, he led the league in yards. And you don't know that. This is not one of those Wayne Gretzky moments where he does what nobody else has ever done and will never do again, right? Winning the MVP in the National Hockey League in a 9 years out of a 10-year span, 9 years out of an 11-year span, whatever it was. It was that short of, he did it. Now it helps to be, the greatest player of all time. And to give you another example of that, he was the fastest player to 1,000 points. Took him 433 games. The next fastest player, took him 424 games. The next fastest player to 1,000 points, Wayne Gretzky. It took him 433 games. So he's the fastest to 1,000, then the fastest to the next 1,000 points. That tells you how dominant that dude is. Got to take a quick time out when we come back. Hero and heel. Always look forward to that on a Monday morning. Brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Every Monday, 8:18, we give you Hero and Heel, the best and the worst of the week. We always welcome yours via the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843, or the text at Sports Radio 21,000. Feel free to join us with anything that you think was worthy of the hero, best performance, or worthy of the worst, the heel performance. It's brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. My hero of the weekend was, I'm going to go with Jeremy Fears. He's taking a lot of heat, and for good reason. You know, it was warranted. There's no question. And he understands it. I think most people, whether you support him and are a Spartan fan or not, they understand it as well. But he was the best player on the floor in the comeback overtime win over Illinois. Started and played 40 minutes. Pumped in 26 points, including, I might add, a tie-breaking three-point play with just under 2 minutes to go. On top of that, he added 15 assists. 11 of his 26 points came in the overtime. The 15 helpers were the fourth most in Breslin Center history. He is one of the best passers in college basketball. He is the most important player on the Michigan State basketball team. He has to play smart moving forward, and he kind of gave you an indication of that against Illinois. Now, I know there was a clip out there of him supposedly tripping an Illinois player. When the Illinois coach comes out and says it was nothing, it was not intentional, then, and he's had a chance to look at it more than once, then that's good enough for me, okay? Because Coach Underwood, if he wanted to, considering, and I was, when his first year at Illinois, I got a chance to talk to him. He's a pretty intimidating dude. He's a straightforward guy. He's a tough dude. If he says there's nothing there, then that's good enough for me. I'm hoping Fears can move forward the rest of the season without any of those incidents and people looking, and just concentrate on his play, because his play's good enough to carry him in Michigan State a long time, a long place in the NCAA tournament. He's my hero of the week.
I thought about giving Brad Underwood my hero for what you just alluded to, Shep, because it was kind of refreshing to hear another Big Ten coach just say, look, guys, you're reading way too into this. You're slowing the video way down. I'm paraphrasing here, but I don't think that was dirty. He was running. He stopped, whatever. It was just nice to hear, because for a week and a half, we heard the opposite from another coach, and it's all good because that coach is great too. But my hero from the weekend is Michigan State as a whole. It was simply an excellent weekend to be a Spartan. I say that proudly. Shep, you gave Jeremy Fears his rightful due respect. But in that same game, how about Jordan Scott with some great hustle plays? How about Jackson Kohler, another double-double? How about Kurt Tang with the clutch three with 8.5 seconds to put them ahead? On top of all that, dueling the D goes Michigan State's way again, and the Spartans dominated in that particular game at LCA, although they lost the night before in Ann Arbor. Cherry on top, of course. We've talked about it this morning. Kenneth Walker III wins Super Bowl MVP. He's the first running back to do it since Terrell Davis in the late 90s, and he's the first Spartan ever to do it. So as a Spartan myself, Michigan State Athletics, very proud this weekend. You are my hero from the weekend.
Yeah, let's just remember a couple of things. First and foremost, it's not like Dusty May spent all week doing it. People asked him about it.
Oh, people inflamed the situation for sure. Reporters inflamed the situation.
Yeah, he wasn't talking about it all week. He doesn't have time.
No, he wasn't going out of his way to
week.
do it.
Somebody asked him questions. He answered them.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, and they were justified concerns. You can't deny that. Otherwise, Tom Izzo doesn't bring him in and talk to him about it.
Right. Thank you for clarifying that, because I don't want this to come across as I was just throwing shots at Dusty May. I simply he was talking about it and using a platform to talk about it because he was asked about it.
Yeah.
Brad Underwood took a complete different response.
Yeah, because it was also different. It was a different way to look at it too, because it really was different. It was unintentional. The other one did look intentional. Otherwise, Izzo doesn't bring him in. Okay. My point to that is I want to see how the kid grows. I want to see how the kid learns from it. Have you ever made a mistake? Yes or no? Absolutely you have.
Of course, many.
And so have I. I've made a lot of them. You want second chances. He deserved the second chance. He made the most of it. And I hope he continues to do that. Second point, Jackson Kohler, outstanding player. I've said this time and time again. I don't think he's going to be an NBA player. I don't care. He's a really good college basketball player. He has been so underrated for this team this year because we focus on the dunks by Cohen Carr and the plays of Jeremy Fears. And I get it. But Kohler's been steady as she goes. Love the way that dude plays. All right, here's my heel. My heel is Emmanuel Clase. The Guardians once closer, was indicted on charges in November on rigging bets on pitches thrown. He's alleged to have now done that in 48 games from 2023 through 2025. Per the indictment, Clase and Luis Ortiz allegedly participated in a scheme to intentionally throw balls where bettors in the know could wager whether the pitch would be a ball or a strike. Documents showed Ortiz's lawyers emphasizing that he did not directly communicate with bettors. Clase allegedly did. Prosecutors allege Ortiz was paid $5,000 to throw a ball when on the mound in June 15th against the Mariners. Clase was paid $5,000 as well to facilitate the scheme. He's the one who set it up. On June 27th against the Cardinals, happened again. The pair each received $7,000 each for their participation. The Guardians, by the way, lost both games. I'm not saying Luis Ortiz isn't as guilty, but Clase, it's alleged, planned the whole damn thing. You've got a multi-million dollar deal and you need $12,000. Something's wrong. He's my heel of the week.
That's really good, Shep, because I didn't fully understand the story. So for a baseball savant like you to break it down like that, I think a lot of us appreciated that. So thank you for that. My heel, I'm going to be as vague as possible for what I believe to be in good faith and good conscience. And yes, you probably know where I'm going here. My heel is politics and sports. I'm going to leave it at that, short and sweet. I'm not here to rant about my beliefs because I don't think that's fair. I think both sides have gone too far. Believe what you want, stand for what you want. But as a diehard sports fan and a football fan yesterday, it was annoying to me, Shep, that the halftime show controversies in both directions were arguably a bigger national story than the game itself. I know baseball's still America's pastime. Guys, Super Bowl 60 should have been a huge celebration of our sport, our country, right in the midst of the Olympics. I get it, all that. Leave it at that. Why does it need to go into politics? And I just, Shep, I'm someone who uses social media quite a bit. So it just, the fact that I was seeing more about the halftime show controversies than Sam Darnold's comeback story or Drake May's comeback story or Kenneth Walker III winning MVP, that kind of stuff just pisses me off. I didn't ask for that. And I'm not saying that I'm above anyone else, but as a sports fan, that upset me yesterday.
I get it. To a certain extent, did the same for me. It's not the individual's fault who were there. It's the NFL putting itself in that situation. We're celebrating 250 years of our country this year. And that's what Roger Goodell decides to do. It seemed odd. Okay. And no matter what side of the aisle you're on, I agree with you. You'd like that all to stay out of sports.
Yes.
It's hard to do that when sports is pushing it at you on a regular basis. And this isn't just football, by the way, but sports is doing that. So how are people supposed to feel? Number one. Number two, if you didn't like that on social media, the best way to get rid of it is don't go on social media.
I know. That's where I kick myself. So I understand it, Shep.
I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of people talking about Kenneth Walker this morning. There's a lot of people talking about the defense for the Seattle Seahawks. You just got to find the right people.
Yeah, I guess unfortunately sometimes the toxicity and the negativity speaks louder. And I'm talking about on both sides of the aisle here. I'm not here to preach. I'm not on a soapbox.
You're going to be it's so, I say this all the time, it's so much easier to be negative than it is positive. So that's where people are going right now. But it's a good hero and heel. We still take your hero and heel all the way up to the end of our program. So if you got one, feel free to share with us via the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843, or via text at Sports Radio 21,000. Wrapping things up when we return. This hour of X's and Bros on a Monday morning is brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Huge here with an invitation for everybody to join the Grand Rapids Griffins and Van Andel Institute for the Purple Community Game, which is coming up on March 13th in downtown Grand Rapids. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute, and you'll have a chance to bid on limited edition Purple Griffins jerseys. You can learn more at vai.org/events.
the best team I've ever been around, the closest, toughest, most connected team I've ever been on, and our guys made it come to life. Everybody in the organization just straight ahead, no drag, stack days. I love them. I'm actually, it's like, as great as it is, I wish the season kept going because it's just such a great team.
That's Mike McDonald, the head coach of the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. His second year, and his team and he are already a Super Bowl champion. Good for him, man. That's pretty awesome. Welcome back. X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. We're brought to you this hour by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Now the baseball football is done. Everybody looks toward baseball. Saw Fangraphs wins above replacement. F-WAR, if you will. The projection is Skubal and Framber Valdez with a 9.9. Garrett Crochet and a Sonny Gray, 9.5. Christopher Sanchez, Jose Luzardo, an 8.3. Paul Skeens and a Mitch Keller, 7.7. Chris Sale and Schwellenbach at 7.2. For Boston. I guess Detroit's got the best 1-2 punch in baseball, I suppose. I mean, based on Fangraphs WAR, that's what F-WAR is. Wins above replacement. You put an F in front of it, it's Fangraphs, who ends up doing a lot of that stuff. Via the text, easy to pick the hero. It's Scott Harris signing a big need. Speaking of Framber Valdez. Now go out and get a freaking bat. That's good.
On to the next thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Where
That's
else can
point,
the Tigers get better?
It is a good point. Heel Trajan failing the team by not getting a scorer to spell Cade. It's interesting. I did ask this of somebody the other day. If you feel like you need a Batman and a Robin, do most people feel that way? I think most do.
Yep.
Okay. We know who the Batman is. Who's the Robin?
I think it's Jalen Duren.
Otherwise your team's got to be very, very unique. Your team's got to be unique, man. I mean, it can't just because Jalen Duren's the All-Star doesn't mean he's a Robin. He's not a scorer. Okay?
But I think it is him, given his play style. I truly believe this. I'm not just saying this because I know who sent this text. He's had a agenda against Jalen Duren for a while, and it's just Jalen Duren is a rim running center who sets screens. He can face up a little bit now on offense. He's expanded his offensive game this year. You cannot tell me he hasn't if you've watched the games.
No, we
he's
know
a very good defender as well. And Cade's a fine defender. Jalen Duren's a very, very good above average defender. So I would call him the Robin. I would.
Yeah. But I think you're calling him the Robin because you're calling him the Robin by default. And that's part of the issue. Robins don't average 7 makes a game.
Okay, so then maybe that just comes down to what we define Robin as, or the second banana, whatever. Jalen Duren, to me, it's very cut and dry. He's the second best player by far to me.
But that doesn't mean
on a very good
next
team.
Robin. His reference is you got to have another scorer. Jalen Duren is not a scorer. All right. Look, I'm taking 18 and 11. I'm taking it every day. It's not that I don't want the guy. I do. You have to be unique. I think the bigger question is, do you need one? When you can make this argument. The Pistons are the best team in basketball, not just the East. Have you watched Oklahoma City lately? They've lost 2 straight. They've gone 5-5, I think, in their last 10. They've struggled. When many people thought at the beginning of the year, they're going to challenge the Golden State Warriors for most wins in a season. Okay. They're going to look like the great Bulls. No, listen, they have hit a rut. They have 2 more wins than Detroit, but they have the same number of losses. You can make the argument, if you were to do a power ranking, that the Pistons are number 1. It helps to have a guy like Duncan Robinson for your team. I know Duncan Robinson, he's not a Robin, but he's averaging 12 points per game. He's shooting 43%. He's shooting 40% from 3. He's got 146 triples made. He's going to end up with, close to 200. He's a plus 274, Trent. He's been a really good signing for the Pistons.
I've liked it a lot.
But he's not a Robin. Tobias Harris is not a Robin. The way this team is going to be unique is its defensive prowess. Do you need the Robin is the question. And the Pistons are proving to you that you don't. That's what we should be taking from this. The Pistons are proving you don't need that. You and I may not feel comfortable with all this. We may feel like you've got to have it because the great teams of the past have. Oklahoma City has had it. Boston has had it. Golden State has had it. Who's the last team to win an NBA championship without two legitimate scorers?
Off the top of my head, I guess 2011, the Mavericks. Because you had Dirk Nowitzki, but Jason Kidd was at the tail end of his career, and you had a lot of really good like shooters, but nobody that, at least that's how I remember it. I was 11 years old, but I don't remember a second top scorer on that team.
Okay.
JJ Barea, maybe Sean Marion, Caron Butler. I don't remember who was the second top scorer on that team.
Right.
Jason Terry.
I think a lot of that has to do, obviously, with Dirk Nowitzki being so dominant.
Yeah, sure.
Right. He's the guy who, I mean, you weren't going to go Tyson Chandler on that team, right? Sean Marion, like you said, I don't know. I can't recall. Let me look this up really quick here.
No, it's fine. I guess if you just off the top of my head, you asked the last team that had like a Batman, but no Robin necessarily in terms of scoring. That's the team that comes to mind for me.
Jason Terry averaged 16 points per game. Caron Butler averaged 15.
Okay, so Jason Terry was technically a Robin.
It's a really good answer. It's not, as I mentioned, it's not OKC. It's not Boston. It's not Denver. It's not Golden State. It's not Milwaukee. Okay. It's not the Lakers. Could it be the 2019 Raptors? Could it be that team?
It
that
could, but I
have
Kawhi
Leonard and Kyle Lowry. Who else did you have?
Marc Gasol, Danny Green, Pascal Siakam. Yeah, that to me felt more honestly similar to that 2011 Mavs team we're talking about, where it's just like a lot of really solid players, but you had a clear-cut number one, and then you had like 3 or 4 dudes who you could make the argument as the second best player, right?
Okay. And their second best player was averaging 17 points a game. Okay?
Yeah.
Detroit's second best player is averaging 18 points per game. It's a different 18. And maybe that's what people struggle with. Maybe they struggle with the fact that this is a guy who is primarily, he's expanded his game. It's not much, but it's 8 feet and in, right? Primarily.
Yes.
Okay. So they're doing things differently. And I think that's the way the Pistons have won championships in the past.
Thank you for bringing that up because I was going to ask you that question about the 04 Pistons.
Yeah.
Who's the Batman?
They've won. Well,
is it Chauncey or is it Ben Wall? Seriously. No, Ben Wall's not the Batman for scoring, but
you had Richard Hamilton. You had Chauncey Bill. You had a lot of Batman and or Robin.
But isn't that kind of what we're talking about with these?
No.
Those other examples we brought up?
No, it's not with this team. Not with this team.
Not this year's team. I'm talking those other 2 examples, 2011 Mavs, 2019 Raptors. Sure. Like, yeah, you have a really good scorer in Dirk Nowitzki or Kawhi, but for as good a score as those guys were, Ben Wallace was as good, if not better, of a defender on the 04 Pistons. So then you got a lot of solid scorers.
Yeah, we're not talking about defense. We're talking about scoring. We're talking about somebody who has to help Cade Cunningham carry the offensive load. That's what we're talking about. Forget about the defense for a minute, because this team is electric defensively too. They're all connected. They do a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not worried about that aspect of it. Those 04 Pistons, you got scoring from a lot of different options. Chauncey Billups, Richard Hamilton, Rasheed Wallace off the bench, right? You had plenty of guys who could add value to your offensive sets. There were options there for Larry Brown. This year, you're winning with, a non-traditional big. Today's traditional big is a stretch 4 is what? Guys can shoot threes. Jalen Duren can't do that. he is almost a throwback to an 80s big man. He's a freak athlete, but he doesn't have a 12-foot baseline jumper that's going to burn you on a regular basis.
And so to your point, maybe
Okay.
people watch the games, they watch how he gets his points, and therefore they don't view him as a Robin or a scorer.
Correct.
Because you can get 18, but they're all on dunks and lobs and free throws and baby hooks.
Yeah. And then, so last week, I believe, did you not say he's the perfect third guy on a team? You did.
Yeah, I did. Yes,
Okay,
because we were
yeah.
talking about the trade deadline. Yeah.
Right. So if that's the case, then he's not a definitive Robin. At least in your mind, a week ago, he was not. So if that's the case, who is that Robin? My point is this. Like New York's got a Robin. They've got a Batman and Robin. They're not better.
Correct.
Boston's got a Batman and Robin. They're not better.
And Shep, you're exactly right about those. And I guess what I feel like we haven't really talked about yet here is like, so when we talk about the Pistons, we talk about how they might not have a Robin in like a scorer, but it hasn't affected their winning yet. And also there's no perfect science to doing this. So also you would have had to give up to get a Robin. You would have had to give up a Sar Thompson or Ron Holland. I'm assuming things.
Well, we don't have to. We don't know that.
But then it's also
we don't know.
But we also don't know what Trajan Langdon did and didn't decide to try to do. Like, it's not fair for me to call him the heel for not going to get a Robin for Cade Cunningham. Who knows?
Agreed.
Maybe he tried, but he didn't want to give up.
I'm sure he did try. I'm sure there were phone calls made. There's no doubt about that. I agree. I wouldn't want to give up Asar Thompson.
Me either.
Considering the way Ron Holland plays defensively and unselfishly with some other things, he's limited offensively. But if that's the case, you and I can't come back if they don't win and sit there and complain about not having enough scoring.
But we won't, Shep. I don't think you and I have that kind of track record.
We did say in order for this team to compete, and we both know the playoffs are different, man. Okay. In order for this team to compete, they're going to have to fill the void of the loss of scoring from Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. And they have not been able to do that. That said, this team is better defensively than it was a year ago. And this team wins in different ways. It sure hasn't hurt them thus far. I don't disagree with that. And we won't know until they actually play in the playoffs. But most people would have agreed if this team wanted that one player to get or that one need of a player to get, then it was going to be a shooter. And they acquired one guy who isn't necessarily that. I mean, he barely got off the bench against the Knicks, and it's a 38-point win.
Right.
So it does make people wonder just a little bit. I love the balance. I love that you've got 2, 4, 6 guys in double digits. It's not real unique in the NBA today. What is going to be unique is how this team wins a championship defensively and with really, I mean, maybe Jenkins, maybe Green, one sharp shooting 3-point threat. A lot of people will give Dennis Jenkins that 3. He burned the Knicks the other night. A lot of people will give Javonte Green the 3 because he hasn't received the respect. They're going to cover that on Duncan Robinson. How many other guys are legitimate 3-point threats on a regular basis? Not quite as many.
And that I understand. I think if there was one knock on the Pistons right now, aside from not having a Robin, if you want to call it that, if you want to go that route like the texter did, it's the shooting for sure. Even the national media was harping on that at the deadline last week. They were like, the Pistons need another shooter. So I understand the concern, but Shep, the last thing I'll say is this, is I don't think you and I will hop on here in June. Heaven forbid the Pistons make the finals and then lose to the OKC Thunder, the San Antonio Spurs. And you and I are here and complaining about how they didn't have enough scoring. I don't think we would do that. I think you and I would know that this team is built at this point as the number 1 seed in the East with a couple All-Stars and the All-Star game head coach. We know what they're built on. Can it win them a championship? We'll see.
I think they can. I'm not gonna lie though. I wanted them to get a shooter. I wanted them to make a move. I wanted them to sacrifice a little bit of the now for the right piece moving forward. And I thought it was doable. And I wouldn't have had a problem whatsoever of them doing it. All right. I thought the move at the trade deadline was slightly underwhelming. I think most people feel that way. And I feel that they had a chance, or publicly anyway, based on reports, which are not always completely accurate, you would have thought they could have done a little bit more than what they did. Let's get to the final results of the poll question. We do that for you every day, right around the 8 o'clock hour. From Friday, we just asked you simply, who's going to win the Super Bowl? Was it going to be Seattle or New England? How did the masses vote?
88% were correct. They said Seattle, 12% New England.
How did your daily wager, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, do?
Did well, because we took the Seahawks -4.5. That, of course, covered really at halftime, but things unfolded from there. I just thought, Seattle's the better team. I thought they'd win by a touchdown at least, and we know what happened from there. So tonight, Shep, the Hornets, who you mentioned this earlier, and I'm glad you did. They're one of the hotter teams in basketball right now. They've won 9 in a row, and they are hosting your Detroit Pistons tonight. So the Pistons are 3-point favorites on the road. There's no half. It's just 3 straight up. I will take the Pistons -3. So you're essentially asking me if the Pistons can win by a bucket tonight. If they win by 2, I'll be laughing because they won by 2 and not 3. But I think the Pistons get it done tonight. What do you say?
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think they're ready to go, and they're ready to prove everybody they're not just the best team in the East, but they're the best team in all of basketball. A quick thought before we leave. Somebody just posted this. Even fans purchasing MLB.TV through MLB's platforms rather than ESPN will still need to be ESPN Unlimited subscribers to purchase the package. In other words, MLB.TV is now behind a double paywall. You have to purchase MLB TV. That's $150 per season for new subscribers, and $135 for returning subscribers, in addition to the ESPN Unlimited plan, which is $30 a month.
Talk about a league that's doing itself no favors.
Well,
I mean, I don't know what the alternative is.
You just got done talking about what we're talking about. Who's talking about this? Anybody talking about this?
No.
Are you going to buy for the Tigers this year $185 for the season? Most people probably would. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, you're paying a little bit more than $1 per game. So if you think about it that way, it's like, okay, it's worth it. But
the bottom line is you're going to have to jump through ESPN hoops to do it. That's the frustrating part.
You would think there'd be an easier way. Whatever. I digress.
You and I can write it off. All right. Thanks to Mitch Lyons, and thanks to you for giving us some of your time on this Monday. We're back tomorrow, 6 a.m. here on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. Enjoy your Monday, everybody.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your